Grover
Yes.
Norquist is the founder and president of Americans for Tax Reform that works to limit the size and cost of government and opposes higher taxes at the federal, state, and local level, and supports tax reform that moves towards taxing consumed income one time at one rate. It's nice to see you. I've never met you before, and it's nice of you to be here. Thanks for coming on.
Good to be with you.
So let's start at the beginning before we get to the election and the results of the election. Your position is there basically taxes should never go up. Is that a fair way to say it?
Correct. Taxes are too high. Spending is too high. Taxes should certainly not go up, and we need to bring spending down.
And so is this a way of what they call starving the beast? If you think if you keep taxes low, that ultimately the government will have to find a way to spend less?
Not entirely. What it does do is if Congress, enough members of Congress, and we have 90% of Republicans in the House and Senate, have made a commitment in writing to the American people, I will never support or vote for a tax increase. If you take tax increases off the table, then and only then is there a conversation about reforming government to cost less. As long as taxes are an option, the Democrats never cease to be willing to talk about another tax. Let's tax beer or wine or cigarettes or this, that, or the other thing, or rich people or people who live in other states. And you never get to reforming government to cost less. Once taxes are off the table and the only thing to look at is spending, then we've actually had some success, even in Obama's presidency, in actual reduction of spending as a percentage of the economy.
So can you put into plain English what it means to tax consumed income one time at one rate? What exactly does that mean in real words?
Sure. You want to do one rate. I'm originally from Massachusetts. Prior to emigrating to the United States, I grew up in Massachusetts. And there we have, by Constitution, a flat rate, single rate income tax. And 5 times the left has put on the ballot, let's go to a graduated income tax. 5 times Deep Blue, Ted Kennedy, George McGovern, Massachusetts has voted that down. Once you have a flat tax, people do not want to go to a graduated tax because they have a very sophisticated conversation on talk radio. Yeah, year 1 they raised Ted Kennedy's taxes. Then they come for me and the Kennedy kids don't care. And they'll just raise our taxes altogether. So you want a single rate. When I say consumed income, we want to tax income one time. If you save it, you don't tax the part that's saved. You tax it when it's consumed later. So you want to tax income one time, consumption one time. Right now we tax you when you earn it, when you save it, when you invest it, we tax it again. If it goes into a company and it earns money, it gets taxed again. If you're stupid enough to die, they tax it again. So we want to say, look, pick a time, beginning, end, middle, whatever, steal some, go away.
All right, fair enough. And were you happy with the tax reform bill that was passed under Trump?
It was a very, very good start. Very important to take our corporate tax from 35%, highest in the world. This is difficult for Americans who think that we're the free marketplace, right? China, socialist China, 25% corporate tax. We had a 35% corporate tax. Germany, 25%. We were the highest in the world, the worst taxers of corporate income, and companies were leaving the United States because of that policy. We went from 35 down to 21. President wanted 15. I like 15 too. It's lower number than 21, but it was a huge step forward. And that's really where we got the strong growth that started up as soon as the tax bill passed.
So now a Democrat majority is coming in to the House. Nancy Pelosi, who has again and again promised to go after this bill. She's just got, it seems, the support that she needs to become Speaker of the House, though the real vote is in January. What do you see coming up?
It'll be a very interesting question. Will they actually pass a bill to increase income taxes? We cut individual income taxes, we cut corporate income taxes, and we cut taxes on smaller businesses, pass-through corporations, subchapter S corporations. These are the sort of mom and pop, 5, 10, 50 employees, one employee. All 3, big companies, small companies, individuals, all got cut. Will the Democrats actually vote to bring those taxes up? Because it won't pass the Senate. The president won't sign it. But they would sort of signal where they want to go. My guess is they hide and they don't do that. But the counter argument is they're running around talking about a carbon tax. And if you really want to show your hand on an energy tax, which is a gasoline tax plus a tax on your home heating, on your air conditioning, on everything that you buy has an energy component to the cost of it. They just introduced a bill, a guy named Deutsch out of Florida. It puts in a carbon tax that increases every year without end. And it doesn't take another vote from Congress. They're willing to put that forward. No Republican has decided to touch it yet. There are two who flirted with it, but they refused to show up at the press conference, so they may have decided better than to support an energy tax, a carbon tax. I would like the Democrats to be clear about their plans to raise taxes. If they do, they will lose the majority in 2 years. If they don't, and CBS agrees not to see them not do it, then they might be able to get reelected.
Yeah, well, that is one. I mean, it is interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that the Laffer curve has been in effect, and this latest tax reform did increase the takings of the government, yes. Which never gets reported, that as they cut taxes, actually the revenue goes up, and therefore the taxes go up, which indicates that the problem is it's on the spending end.
It is. We had a significant tax cut, rate reduction, and total revenue went up because the economy grew. That's exactly what the Laffer curve says. It's what happened under Coolidge in the 20s. It's what happened. They had 11% growth one year with Coolidge's tax cuts. It's what happened with John F. Kennedy's across the board tax cut, 25%. The Reagan tax cuts across the board, and now with the Trump tax cuts, every time you got growth, which brought in more revenue, and the government got a smaller percentage of the entire economy, but it had more money to spend on. I mean, there are a few things the government is supposed to do, keep the Canadians on their side of the border, that sort of thing. But beyond that, it ought not to become an increasingly large part of our lives. When we went to war with Britain, the average individual in the 13 colonies paid between 1% and 2% of their total income in taxes. The Brits were talking about 3%, and we started shooting at them.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. If they came back today, they would be absolutely appalled. Yeah. There's something else I want to ask you about. Now, you've been in the forefront of fighting against earmarks. Is that fair to say? Now,
certainly strong supporter of getting rid of earmarks. Have been some real heroes in the House and Senate. Boehner never took one, the former Republican leader, and he really drove them out of the House. That was very helpful.
There's a theory that goes around here at the Daily Wire, which I have heard and don't know what to make of, that the reason Congress is so deadlocked and so at such a stalemate on issues like immigration, for instance, where they keep talking about it but they don't do anything about it, is because there are no earmarks to trade. That the stagnation that has come over our lawmakers basically originates with the end of earmarks, and that earmarks were an ugly but important way of making the sausage. What do you think of that?
Okay, earmarks are the currency of corruption. If you want a congressman or a senator to vote for a bill that is bad for his or her district, that is against their principles, you say, here's some money to give to your favorite university in your school, here's some cash to hand out to the Chamber of Commerce or to a company. We will buy your vote with other people's money. And now you will now cast a vote that you know is wrong and that you would not do without the bribe. The challenge is, at the end of the day, I wouldn't mind earmarks for Democrats. I think the problem is you buy Republican votes for spending bills that are too large, but they say, but what if we gave you some extra? And then you could vote for it. So that's how you buy Republican votes for legislation, spending bills that are too high. It is bad for their souls. I don't mind earmarks for Democrats because they don't have souls. So it's not the same problem. To buy a Democrat vote for tax cuts with earmarks, I'd be okay with that. But you have to have it for one or the other, and the chances are that the big government people will use spending to buy votes for bigger spending. The left hates that we haven't been doing the growing government with the same speed that we used to do, because earmarks don't buy Republican votes for tax hikes and spending increases. That is a good thing. Gridlock is always better than stupid.
Grover Norquist, very interesting. I'm glad you came on. I hope you'll come on again. It was nice to meet you, and interesting conversation. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you.